up, everybody? This is Nick from thegameraccess.com bringing you another video. And today, before I go into today's topic, I just want to apologize. Yesterday's video had a little bit of my information incorrect about the software attachment ratios. I said that the PS3 was 2 to 1 and 360 was 8 to 1, which is pretty off. But the 360 still is a little less than 2 times of the attachment rate of the PS3. So it is still a pretty big difference. So the discussion and my reasons are still relevant. I just want to get that out there that I admit I was wrong. I apologize for that. But anyways, today what I want to talk about is why is Blu-ray being untouched for the gaming anyway. Now first I want to give a shout out to Alexander. He actually emailed me and he wanted me to talk about this. So you guys can do the same thing. You want me to talk about something, just send me an email with a topic. That easy. Look, he sent me an email yesterday. It's getting up today. So that's all you gotta do. Now there have been games that have used Blu-ray. We all know that. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 is a great example. That used a dual-layer disc. Single-layer Blu-rays can hold up to 25 gigs. Dual-layer can hold up to 50 gigs. And they're even working on Blu-rays that can hold up even more. I mean, I've heard of Blu-rays that can hold 400 gigabytes and stuff like that. But I don't see that being used this generation because we were barely using 25 and 50 gigs. I mean, there have been some PS3 games that have used over 8, but, I mean, how many PS3 games are really on dual-layer discs? And that's what I want to talk about. I mean, of course, now I want to get this out of the way because I know a lot of people have asked this, is why don't multi-platform games actually use it, and why don't they look better on the PS3? First of all, if you're a company, okay, let's say you're Activision, let's use Call of Duty for instance. If you're Activision and Infinity Ward, and you're making a game, Call of Duty, why are you going to spend more time and more money on Call of Duty on the PS3 to make it look better and to actually utilize the Blu-ray for potential? It would cost them more money and time to do that, and that's not going to make someone, oh, it looks better on the PS3, so I'm going to go buy a PS3. If they got a 360, they're going to buy the 360 version, and they aren't going to make much more money. They might make a little more, they might sell a couple more games, but they're going to end up losing more than they would make, based off the fact that it would cost them a lot more money to utilize the Blu-ray disc. So first of all, multi-platform games makes perfect sense to me. They aren't going to use advantage of it. They got to put it on the 360 as well, and the 360 uses DVD. It's like 8-9 gigabytes. So they aren't going to make a PS3 game that's 25-50 gigabytes. There's no way. It's a lot more time, and they basically have to redesign the game and make it look a whole lot better and uncompress it and all that stuff. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense why they don't do it with multi-platform games. But why don't PS3 exclusives use it? Now, like I said, there are PS3 exclusives that use it, and most PS3 exclusives are over 8 gigs. They're like, they couldn't fit on DVD, but that's because they're uncompressed. So many of these games you could compress, and you would not see a difference. Look at Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. Now, I know many of you guys will say, oh, it's just a demo, or it's a small version of the game, but it still has a good amount of content. I mean, it has, I think, like 40, 50, 60 cars somewhere within there, and like 8 tracks. So, I mean, it's not your normal Gran Turismo. It isn't like Gran Turismo, you got like 800 cars and like 40 tracks. It's not that. But it's still Gran Turismo, and it's got, even though it's got small, I know it takes up less space. I know it takes up less space. But they got that to fit in 1.9 gigs. That's a fourth of a DVD. So even if you multiply everything right there times 4, you're looking at 8 gigabytes. And the game still looks incredible. Burnout Paradise is on the PSN. Takes up 3.24 gigabytes for the whole game. That's pretty impressive. Now, the reason why it takes up more in Gran Turismo is because Gran Turismo's tracks, Burnout's a whole, it's basically it's open world racer, and it does have more content. I'm not arguing that Gran Turismo does not have the content, but go ahead and multiply everything Gran Turismo has times 4, and you're looking at about 8 gigabytes. Now, I know it might be a little more. I'm not a developer, but I'm just multiply the cars times 4 and the tracks times 4. You're looking at about 4 times the amount. It might be a little larger, but I mean, it's still nowhere near 25-50 gigabytes. Now, Gran Turismo 5, the full game, I would not be surprised if it is on a dual layer disc, or it might be on a 25 gig disc. Look at Killzone 2, arguably the best looking game this generation. I'm not going to argue that because I think it's stupid, but to argue over that, but it's on a single layer disc, which means it can't be any larger than 25 gigs. I don't know the exact amount, but you don't have to use 50 gigs, 100 gigs to make your game look that good. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4, the reason why that was on dual layer was because of the cutscenes, and Kojima did not want to compress anything. And yeah, the game looked awesome. It looked amazing. But you can compress stuff and still look really well. Look at Killzone 2. It's on a single layer disc. I don't know if they compressed it or not, but just because it doesn't use 50 gigs does not mean the game's gonna look that much better. Look at Killzone 2. Killzone 2, I know it's, and look at Uncharted 2. I mean, it's these games, they don't have to use the full Blu-ray. Now, people, okay, what I originally talked about is why don't they use it? Well, first of all, 50 gigs, you'd have to pack a lot of content. Because, yeah, you can make the game look better here and there, but it all comes down to the content. And yes, the engine, I understand how all that works and the more content, but it's just, I don't know. It's spent a lot more time and money, and plus look at the PS3. I did a video on it yesterday. PS3 games exclusives, they're selling good. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not selling well at all, but once again, why are companies spend that much time and money when they really aren't gonna make much more? Rather than, okay, Killzone 2. Let's say they took an extra year to make the game look even better and add even more content and use a 50 gig disc. Do you really think it would have sold many more copies? No. If you wanted Killzone 2, you bought Killzone 2. It already looked amazing, and it's a great game. So just adding, you don't have to use a Blu-ray for it to be a great game. So why they don't use it, I think that's why. They say, okay, we're already producing great games, and they are using the Blu-ray. They aren't using its full potential. Not every game's using 50 gigs, but they are using it. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 used its potential, but there are many other PS3 exclusives. That Uncharted, I'm pretty sure that's used over. I know that used over 8 gigs. I don't know the exact amount. I know Heavenly Sword did. I researched these, but there's a I don't remember the exact amounts, but they used a little over 8 gigs, like 15 gigabytes. Resistance, 15, 16 gigabytes. They aren't using 50, but they're still using more than a DVD. Now, yes, you could probably compress them and get them working on 360 with very minimal difference, but then there's also that whole thing with Rage. If you guys remember John Carmack, he's saying that the the space limitations are going to hurt with Rage because they're going to have to compress it a lot. But I mean, I can't wait to see. I want to see the differences. I want to really see how big these differences are, and if they're even that noticeable. And I mean, Ghostbusters, that game looks a little better on 360. It's not a huge difference. It's not worth buying a 360 just to get Ghostbusters, because you can still play it on your PS3 and it's a great game. But just because you put a game on Blu-ray doesn't mean it's going to be better. Just because it takes up more space does not mean the game's going to be better. That's basically what I'm saying. 360 games, there's some amazing looking 360 games out there, and they're only on one disc. Now, Forza 3, which is a game I'm really anticipated for, is going to be on 2 discs, which is a racer, but I mean, basically this whole Blu-ray and using more space, I think that's something more for the future. Now, movies, it's great. I mean, Blu-rays and movies are working really well with each other, but with the whole Forza 3 using 2 discs, I think we're getting to that point. Not everyone's like Kojima. Not everyone's going to put all this time and money into these hour cut scenes and not compress it and spend hours upon hours with the music and just put all this together. And that's why the game takes up so much space. It's mainly the cut scenes, because the cut scenes, I I don't know how long the game is full of cutscenes, but it's pretty long once you add it all up. So, and that stuff takes up a lot of space. So that's why that game took up that much space. And Forza 3, I think that you'll start to see more people utilize the Blu-ray later on, but right now I just don't think they need it. Personally, I think that's what they're thinking. Like, why do we need to fill up a Blu-ray disc? We're already producing amazing looking games on such, I don't want to say small space, but much smaller space than 50 gigs, 25 gigs. Because I mean, you like, I don't want to repeat myself, but you don't need to use up a ton of space to make an amazing game. Killzone 2, amazing looking game, and it's on a single layer disc, which means it's less than 25 gigabytes. Metal Gear Solid 4 looks amazing, but you really can't compare them as a third-person shooter to first-person shooter, but you really don't need to use all that space. There's a ton of PS3 exclusives that look amazing, and they're only on single layer. There isn't that many. There might be one or two others. Aren't popping to my head right now. Infamous only uses one single layer, and that's an open world game, and the game looks incredible. So you don't really need to use it, and that's why I feel that these companies aren't using Blu-ray, and they don't need to until later on when things improve. which we're starting to see with Forza 3. So that's just my opinion on it. I hope I answered your question, Alexander. If I didn't, shoot me an email back if you want me to talk about anything else. If anyone else wants to leave a comment, please do so. And I have my email address right below, so feel free to send me a topic, and I'll be sure to talk about it. So thank you for watching, and check back tomorrow for another one.